"19 months is wild. Love you, Kaysh. Less than 3.
Okay, I think I'm actually ready to go. Let's do the thing! Hi, friends. First off, Emmy. Thank you for the 19 months. What? I think Allie came in the other day with 19 months as well, and I was just like, this is too long. That's too much. That's too much time. It is, again, super wild to think that I've almost been doing this for 2 years now. Yeah, I don't know how to cope with any of that. It'll be 2 years in September? July? I think September. It was like the 1st of September that I started streaming. This is weird. But thank you, Emmy, for that. I'm glad that you're getting through the week. I'm glad that finals are almost over. You got this. You're absolutely gonna kill it. Hi Fruity, welcome in. Reminder, while I'm thinking about it, we do have the community challenge still up. Gummy Hunt is still up. Throw your points in there if you want to. Don't have to if you don't want to, but I needed to mention it before I forgot. Emmy, thank you. Yeah. Hi, y'all. I'm sorry I didn't stream yesterday. Thank you, Fruity. But I didn't feel like it. Didn't want to. I wanted to, but I just did not have the energy for it. So we're here now doing it. We're playing more Song of Horror, and I'm very excited about it. Because this game scares the shit out of me. Hi, Devo. Is now the time to come say hello? You wanna come here? Come here. Come say hi. Lamia was in my lap not too long ago. But then she's like, I don't actually want to be around you. And so she hopped away. Come here. Come on. Come on, sweet boy. You're thinking about it. Yeah. So have a Devo instead. We have a Devo boy. Oh, yes. My happy man. TK!
Kayshurrr tremble, Kayshurrr tremble, Kayshurrr tremble, Kayshurrr tremble.
Not the way that Kimmerald is saying that. TK, thank you for the 4 months. How are you doing, friend? And the contribution to the gummy hunt. Y'all are too nice. Listen, all of you. I love all of you. Also, it's Devo. Devo was probably also screaming alongside you, Fruity. It's not like we watched a whole bunch of Survivor or anything together. This is fine. You got gunk on your nose, little boy. Hi. How's everyone doing? Except me, or was this last week just absolute shit? Just an absolute garbage dump of nonsense. Oh no! Oh, TK, I hope your day gets better. Or at least the week, like, improves. That's not fun. Especially if they know that they're gonna, like... I don't necessarily hold it against anyone to, like, up and quit, but if they're switching departments, you would think someone would let you know ahead of time. Ugh. You've been internally screaming? I've been externally screaming. Just so fucking done with this month. With the last couple of weeks. Things have been rough, but streaming has been nice. I definitely needed a break yesterday, though, so I'm not too upset about it. I now have a Devo in my lap, which is going to make this a little difficult. And it's so hot! It is, let me tell you, it is incredibly warm here today. I had to put my hair up, like, fully up today. I mean, as much as I can with it being super short in the back, because it's just too goddamn hot. It is purple. It's purple at the moment. The way that the light hits it, the way that my, my ring light, the way that it hits it makes it a little little blue. It doesn't help that my screen's also blue at the moment, but it's purple. We've re-dyed it, but I've had to put it up because it's just too hot. That's true. Emmy, you never put your hair up. What is happening? It's just really humid today, and you would think, so it's been like super windy as well, but it's not helped at all. It's just hot as fuck. And I can't open the windows because then it'll get even more humid. But it's, yeah, my, my weather app tells me that it is 88 degrees outside. What's the humidity at? Just so I know. Sorry. Forecast just says it's 88 degrees. Hot outside. Like, yeah, no shit. Feels like 91. We've got 53% humidity. Okay, it's hot as fuck. And I only have the one fan in my bedroom, and it lives there because I need to keep my bedroom as cold as an icebox at all times. But I need to get a new fan because my other one just shit out on me a few months back. But it was the middle of winter, so I was like, it doesn't matter. We don't need to fix that. Don't need to replace that yet. I do need to replace it because it's too goddamn hot up in here. I plan on purchasing one for myself in the next couple of months, but I might have put the fan that I want on throne if somebody felt incredibly generous. Don't do that, actually, but it is up there. Because I have to wait a little bit before I can purchase it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Oof. I love thunderstorms. I don't like tornadoes, but this all tracks with the gross weather. These things happen with gross weather. That's not good. If you are in that area, just anyone living in the Midwest of the United States, take care. It's hot. Thunderstorms, not too terrible, but combined with possibility of tornadoes, it's not fun. Take care, my friends. Anyway, I've just ranted about how fucking hot it is. Because that's all I've been thinking about today is, shit, it's hot! And I hate it. But it's okay. I'm in a t-shirt and shorts today. I have socks on, but barely. Good. Ours are not. I mean, we're kind of north as well. Not super north, but I don't know. In the particular region of the Midwest that I'm in, they don't hit often, but when they do, they are very gnarly. But yeah, just remember, take care of your dang selves. Yeah, they're not great here, but it could be worse. We're like right in that weird in-between spot. But considering I won't get into specifics about where we are there, but it's just not great. Oh, for sure. No, 100%. But even still, any big weather is bad weather. While we're chatting about this, though, I am gonna launch the game. And we'll move on over here and hope that everything launches the way that it's supposed to. But yeah, I need everyone to stay cool, or stay warm, if it's cold where you are. I'm sorry, the game is gonna be incredibly loud to start, because it always is. Apologies. I have too much garbage showing up on my phone, and I don't know why. Yes! Saturday! Not yesterday. Saturday! We killed a handful of characters. We killed 2 characters, which was incredibly upsetting, because I was doing very well with the first character, and I liked the second character. The second character's death was kind of garbage. I got stuck in a dead end and couldn't run away from Bad Monster. But we found Isaac Farber? It's Song of Horror! It's the game that we started playing ages ago and then it kept crashing. Yeah. It's the one with the spooky music box and the shadow monsters. Yeah. I was gonna keep this, yeah, so I mean, it's been like 6+ months since we played it, and we had to stop. We got through all of episode 1 and started episode 2, but the game kept crashing, to the point that we couldn't progress at all, so we had to stop, but it's updated a few times, and it worked perfectly fine on Saturday, which was really exciting. So quick recap. We started out as Daniel, who works for a publishing company. He went to go pick up a manuscript from a man named Sebastian Husher. He was not around when Daniel showed up at the house, but there was a spooky music box, and we heard the tune, and then everything started going bad. Daniel got sucked into a horrible nightmare realm, and because he was missing, his friends showed up and went and got him. We accidentally killed a man, because the game crashed, and then another man got caught because I decided to look in a bathtub, and then Sophie, as we played as Sophie, we found him and saved him, and it was fine. Yesterday, we finished out episode 2. We started out as Erica? She was looking for her dad, who owned an antique shop. Found out that her father, Isaac, is the one who gave Sebastian Husher the music box. the haunted music box. We got Erica killed, got Sophia killed, and then we located the lot from which the auction lot that the music box came from, located the original owners. Daniel went and turned the box into them to Ariadne, and she was weird and talking to people who weren't there, and it was spooky. And now Daniel wants to go back to the Husher house to see if he can find Sebastian, I think is where we left off. Yeah, Travis lost 50,000 points last time, because he got cocky and wanted to do a prediction poll and thought that I would only kill the one character, and I actually killed too many characters. It was unfortunate for everyone involved, except for Fruity, who got a handful of measly points back. Reminder, game is very sound oriented, so I do have the volume up fairly loud. So preemptive apologies for loud spooky sounds, but I need to be able to hear shadow monsters. There is a permadeath mechanic. Anytime you lose a character in a previous chapter, you lose that character for the rest of the game. And I think those are all the, like, super important parts. Good recap, as well as reminder of how the game functions. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. I think we all really needed the recap as well, because, like, I couldn't remember anything.
I was awake. For certain. It was a hallucination. A hallucination like those described by Faber in his letter, shortly before hanging himself from a beam in his office. A hallucination. Or something worse. Much worse. Had it done any good to return the music box to its owner? Husher might have the answer, but his whereabouts was still unknown, and his trail seemed to have gone cold as the days passed by. Perhaps in his office, somewhere in his papers. Among the documents he was researching while delving into the box's origins. Maybe there would be some clue in there as to where he had gone, or what he had done. Something that would help us to follow his footsteps. I had to find Sebastian Husher, but this time, my life depended on it.
Because it didn't before?
Rene Artigas, the officer who found Faber's body, contacted me right away. He wanted to know Husher's whereabouts and his potential connection to Faber's death.
I did get an achievement specifically for having Renee find Isaac.
A PhD student and Husher's mentee, and Professor Nasiri, one of his associates, gladly agreed to give us a hand with the search. They used to stay up late working in Husher's office, so that seemed like a good place to start.
We had no idea how serious the situation was.
Not
if we'd known about his family, those poor children.
I hope we can at least find out what exactly he was after, and where he went.
There are some papers on his desk that haven't been touched since he left. We have a good chance of finding something there.
Lately, I feel like something odd has gotten into Professor Husher. I mean, apart from his usual oddities. He seemed anxious about something and looked like he hadn't slept properly in days. No offense, Mr. Nora, but it looks like it's the same for you.
Don't worry, none taken. I'm well aware.
I'm well aware.
This is his desk. As you can see,
Why does Daniel
there are a bunch
sound
of
like such a
documents he uses as research for his novels.
turd?
It's all here. We'd better take a look at his computer and the shelves, too. The sooner we get started, the sooner we'll find something out. Look at this here.
Sounds
There
like
are
a
some notes where he mentions the music box, but I can't quite understand what he means. AA375 is underlined.
AA, that's how the documents in the Donations and Biographies archive are designated. Maybe he was looking for something there.
Biographies. Let's start with the archive, then. Where is it?
Donations and biographies are on the basement level.
Gross, I
I'm
don't want to go
sure
down
it
there.
will be closed, but we can easily find the janitor or a key. It's not a very busy area.
Okay, so are we at the school? At the school that he worked at? Yes. That this hallway answers that question. I do like how they like tie in the characters per episode, based on like who survived and who was like involved. Okay, so we can play as Daniel, Omar, Grace, or Renee. I kind of want to play as... We have a lighter as a source for Omar, and a proper torch for Grace. Grace is not particularly strong, but she does have a lot of serenity. Because I think the higher it is, the less shaken they get. And she's very stealthy. Alright, let's do it. Let's play as Grace.
I'll go take a look. You check out what else is in that notebook.
Poor woman killed. It's gonna be incredibly unfortunate for her, but you know, maybe I should have started out as Renee then. Get him murdered. Alright. Oh god, that was so loud. Twisted trail. Can we not slam the doors behind us?
I don't remember this place being so scary.
Old copies of News World. I don't know why they're here and not in the newspaper archive. Okay, hold on. The music is incredibly loud, so I'm gonna change that? Yeah, just turn everything down a little bit. That looks fine. That looks fine. Oh, what is this? Oh, okay. Academically speaking, these books hold no value. They're just here for appearances, in my opinion. Wow, Grace, okay. Judgy much? Why do I hear rats? Who let the rats into the library? We considered... These notes were made by the administrative staff. They don't contain anything useful. Snack machine is more popular than Omar would care to admit. Alright, great. These folders with files in them shouldn't just be lying around here. They contain our personal details. What is this? Mr. Glover! I tried to give you back your access card, but I couldn't find you. Thought you were in the downstairs control room, but I see you're not. Anyway, I'm going away for the for the long weekend, and I'm not gonna wait for you to turn up. We don't all have as much free time as you. Go to the shelves of the subject taught by Professor Dunn. From there, stand in front of the shelves that would contain my surname. Count as many shelves to the right as the size of Dunn's hat, and look on the upper shelves. Don't mistake the professor's hat for mine. They're very different. In fact, I'll take my own with me just to make sure. Goodbye and enjoy the long weekend. P.S. I'm not taking my hat in the end. Marino. Message from Maxwell Glover, janitor of the history department. Note from Professor Marino. Okay, where is my phone? They've done very good at just, like, making sure everything... so that I can, like, read notes while I'm solving the puzzles and stuff like that, but I would much rather...
Marino. What a dick. Besides, he's got it in for Max.
Hold on, I'm trying to turn around and she won't. What is this? What is this? These damn fax machines! Omar doesn't believe me when I tell him their days are numbered. Nothing useful in the printer. I don't even think there's any paper. Can I listen through this door? It's clear. Everything's fine. I wish the lights would stop flickering. I don't like that. Marino has a top hat. You can see in the top right corner. Who else was he talking about? I'm pulling up the note. Those are the shells of the subject taught by Professor Dunn. Who is Professor Dunn? Zachary Dunn. Top row, second over. This probably just gives me an idea of what Marino, like, what Marino's hat looks like. I shouldn't worry about that too much. Okay. I know you got this, Fruity. Top hat. Top hat made of black felt. This is Marino's. But I have it now. No, I don't. Cans left lying around and some professor's paperwork. Short-brimmed hat. A hat made of brown felt. What does that say? I can see a label on the inside. 100% felt. Size 6. Okay. So 6? I'm gonna write that down real fast. Just 6. No context. Just 6. What is this? Newspaper from August. Great. Wonderful. Joseph Michael Marino. Whose is this? Zachary Dunn! Can I go in here? It's safe. No bad crinkle tinkles on the other side of this room. Professor Dunn keeps all sorts of paperwork in here. I don't think it's any use to me. I'd sell my soul to the devil to have just half of Dunn's qualifications. 6 hat units. Thank you, Fruity. It's not normal to see the campus so dead at this time of year. I presume the renovation work has delayed the start of the term. Some lines of investigation to follow are noted here. Fruity's in charge of remembering 6 hat units. 12:30 exam on the 16th of December. Do I use that to figure out what he teaches? Dunn is such a nice professor. He always lends me books when I come to his office. What does Dunn teach? What does Dunn teach? I'd hide under Dunn's desk. I really hope it doesn't come to that. No. 12:30 exam. December 16th. Do we have... Why is my heart pounding? Okay, that's fine. This is fine. This is a horrible office. There's some student files here. I don't know what Marino would be doing with these. Okay. A couple of bottles of whiskey. I wouldn't be surprised if Marino had a good slug of that before drafting his exams. Bus is in a terrible state. If only Marino would spend half the time tidying his things that he spends on annoying other people. Wow, we have some opinions about this man. I mean, these follow. Wait, December 16th. French. Dunn teaches French. French first term. 16th of December, 12:30 p.m. Classrooms 3 and 4. Yeah. Okay, so Dunn is a French teacher. Good to know. Omar can say what he likes, but I think that keeping bugs with pins stuck through them is a bit psycho. Okay. Wow, Grace is not like Erica, just incredibly judgy. Please. Grace. Okay, that's everything that's in here for now. Right? Come on, Grace. Come on. I think this takes place in 98. So, a little different. Things were a little different, but also, come on. Grace. Please. Where... There are too many things to look at over here. Holy crap. Don't think Professor Husher would have found anything of value in these old newspapers. Shelf A. Okay, hold on. What am I doing? Go to the shelves of the subject taught by Professor Dunn. From there, stand in front of the shelves that would contain my surname. I don't know what shelf French would be on. This is a problem. Also, what is this? Cleaning staff wouldn't normally leave a trolley here in the way. Where have they got to? Where indeed? What is this? Slide projector. Almost all the professors use them. I don't have any slides. What is this? Caffeine pills! Professor Husher usually smokes in his office when I come for my thesis reviews. Maybe he's been investigating something with the projector. Okay. What was that? What was that noise? There are too many things to look at here. If I follow the cigarette trail, I might just discover everything Husher has written down. Shame these notes don't tell me much. I also need Grace to, like, intelligently look around with her flashlight. Haha, history! Mad Hatter. Funny cartoon of one of the professors. It's what's his butt? Marino. Can tell because he's got a funny hat. Okay, is there like a guide for... There it is. There it is. Okay, so we've got... Oh boy, languages. 4? I don't understand. Marino would be shelf I, is what I need to look at. What is this one? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? Ma'am, stop! Stop looking in the shelves! Grace! There's nothing here, I swear, Marino, and his nonsense drives me mad. Hey, I was trying to see what shelf it was! There are too many things to look at. S, R, Q, P... Is this H? No, that's M. Honestly, though! She's just like, I'm just gonna wiggle it around a bunch. It doesn't help that it is, like, tank controls, which is fine on its own, but trying to, like, look around with the flashlight while I'm moving around doesn't work very well. H. So here's I. I guess I'm just gonna look at all of these. Hold on. Stand in front of the shelves that would contain my surname. Count as many shelves to the right as the size of Dunn's hat. And look on the upper shelves. Count as many shelves to the right. Okay, so 1, 2... Wait... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? And then the upper shelf? 6 hat units. Kind of hard to gauge what we're considering a single shelf unit. Oh boy. Okay, so maybe I don't count the one that we started on. So maybe it's this one. Here it is! Marino, I've worked out your amusing little riddle. Next time, leave Maxwell alone and put it on who I say. Okay, it's the janitor Maxwell Glover's access card. It opens the cleaning room and the administration office. That wasn't too terrible, all things considered. I just wish that the animation for looking on the shelf it didn't take as long as it did. But that's okay. Now I can delete the stupid riddle, because we fixed it. We did it. We did the riddle. Where else do I need to go? I can go downstairs. Or I can keep checking out the rooms that are here. Let's keep checking out the rooms that are here. So we can be a bit methodical about what we're doing. Not just run around willy-nilly. This is the way to the cleaning storeroom. I need an access card to open that door. We got that, though. Listen, we got it. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Wait, what? Okay. Thought I heard something. I think it was just a rat. Thank you. I am extra sneezy today. I woke up feeling so gunky. They just tilled the field across the way from my house. And, like, the pollen over here is just ridiculous. So I'm just like, ugh. Sink is ridiculously small. Can't imagine even filling up a mop bucket here. Jesus fuck. The door. I have to block it. Oh! Okay. Oof. This is fine.
And you stand there.
This is a great time to do this. Rip it and rip it. It's just Shadow Monster. It's just a Shadow Monster. Don't worry about it. It's just a Shadow Monster. Thank you for the grip and rips, y'all. Oh boy. Slides? Projector slides! Set of slides. They are designed to be projected onto a white screen. Great. I wouldn't be concerned. Cleaning product ready to use. I mean, it's just Yuri coming to say hi. Don't worry about it. No concern. What is this? Don't see any need to pick up any of these tools. You fool! It's true! A shadow monster is just a shadow friend that you haven't met yet. Don't be concerned. Why would you be worried? It's fine. It's totally fine. Okay. What's over here? Can I... Excuse me. Sounds fine. I say and then immediately panic. Ugh. Even in the Archives Administration Office, there's unclassified materials strewn about. Okay, hold on. I have to blow my nose. At least wipe the snot away. Give me that. Give me that. Ugh. Sorry, excuse me. I hate this time of year. It is awful. What is this? What is this? Play.
I just saw something weird as fuck. I was out having a smoke
Sorry.
because we declared
I
that
just saw
smoking
something
illegal.
weird as
Even
fuck.
Students do it all the time. When I came back, the slide machine had switched on by itself. Professor Husher once mentioned that the same thing had happened to him, so I thought it was just acting up again. I went to turn it off, and I saw there was a picture of the old archive door projected on the screen. Then the door started to open. I couldn't look away, and when it opened a bit more, I could have sworn I saw the control room from downstairs. And not just that, there was someone in there holding the release lever. It was me. I was in there. I pulled the cable, took the slides, and got the hell out of there. Laugh all you want, but now, I'm scared to go back downstairs.
Okay. Various reminders like complete files 20 to 42. Not very interesting. Dirt is really weird. It doesn't seem like it's just down to a lack of cleaning. Okay. Okay. Oh, I hate it in here. Where does this go? Oh, no. No, I don't think so. I don't... not today. No, we'll come back. I'm good. Probably go look at these slides, but also I'm scared to look at these slides. I don't know how I do it. I just need to see a water dispenser, and I'm thirsty. You should drink some more water. If upon seeing water you're like, wow, I'm real thirsty, maybe you're not drinking enough water. Okay, it's behind the reception desk and directly left of the door. I'm trying to, like, figure out how to get into Dunn's office if I have to go hide quickly. Oh, this way. Let's go this way. Alright. Slides will work when I manage to plug the projector into the electrical outlet. Maybe I don't actually want to look at those. Please, I would love to see where I'm going. I remember seeing that useless Marino with a similar notebook. Maybe it's his, but it won't be me that takes it to his office. Okay, but I want to look at it? I think Marino... What is moving in the top left corner? What is wiggling up there? I think Marina made these notes. They don't help me. Oh, it was my flashlight. Okay. Look at all these boxes on the floor. What happened here? Oh, there's more shelves down here. Well, I'm glad I didn't find these earlier. They've been horrible. Too many things to look at. Right? Hydrate or dihydrate, girl. You got it. Again, if you just glance at water and your first thought is, geez, I'm really thirsty, I don't think you're drinking enough water regularly. I think you need to drink some more water. What was that? Oh my... I heard, like, running. Oh, what do you get? I don't wanna be here. Incredibly tense. Sorry, I'm like stretching my shoulders a little bit. I realized I was like, it's very, very tight, very tense. This is fine. I don't wanna be down here. I don't have anywhere else I can go though. Oh, I didn't listen. Oh no. How do I get my flashlight to work? Flashlight! Okay. Oh! It's F for flashlight, by the way. Not T for torch. I don't want to be down here. I don't have anywhere else to go, though. I gotta be down here. This is horrible. Summer's renovation work has left everything a mess. Locker's empty. I think I could fit inside if I needed a place to hide. Great! Love that for me. Hi, Devo. What is this? This door! The door from the slides! I can see myself behind it now. It's real and I can open it. The image from the slides is a door! I can get the chain off, but I'm going to need the key. I need to open it in order to get out. It's also dark, but if I can get out, maybe there's light out there. Sir? Oh no. No, 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 no. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that.
I have to find a way to keep this lever pressed down if I want to get into the archive.
No, I understand. Okay. Can you look at this? Or is it back here? Okay, never mind. I guess we just don't look at it. I guess we just don't look at anything, actually. The amount of stress I have right now. Hey! I need these. Power cable for the the projector. It's all in the middle of being filed away. Okay. I'm not allowed to. I can't. Okay. Oh! Oh! No! 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 No!
Oh my god.
Hey! There's bad things on the other side of that door! Where do I go? Nope, still out there. No, no, we shouldn't open that door. It's clear now. I think. No, no quick peeks. No quick peeking. Not even a little look. Hi, Bono. Not entirely sure why that didn't spook me. It shoulda scared me, but it didn't. How's it going, friend? Everything is awful. Nice. Well, I hope you have fun with that. Oh god, okay. Again, I don't like it when it doesn't let me listen past the door. Horrible. Horrible. Terrible place to be. It's okay. Dunn's office is right over there, so I can hide if I need to. Can I use this? I don't like it.
Okay, I got this working. Let's see.
Oh no. Put that there. Some of these are incredibly hard to see. I don't know what that is. That's the door, though. That's a box? That's someone handing a key to us. That's terrible shadows, so probably there. Just not entirely sure what these... Like that, maybe? Oh, okay, hold on. Hold on. They're playing them in weird orders. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it starts out with the door. Hold on, exit. That's last this spot. Oh my god, I've done this wrong. Okay, so this one, this highlighted one goes second. So probably put that there. Yeah. Where did I put this one? Those are rats. That's incorrect. Shouldn't be rats there. Oh no. I am confusion. Maybe I do it this way. I have no idea how I'm supposed to do this. Do we start with that one? I have no clue as to what I'm doing. So that's great. These keep changing when I put them in different orders. Oh, wait. No, I think I know. I think I understand. So, like, based on which ones they're next to, different things happen. So if I put, like, the box with the shadow next to the man with the key, then the key gets stolen. And if I put the rats next to the wires, then the wires get chewed. So, like, we'll put that there, and that... No. That there, maybe? Is that right?
What's going on here? What are these slides?
Why is your flashlight off? Why is your flashlight off? Because it stole our flashlight. I hate this. Let me tell you right now how much I dislike this. Okay, I need it to open the door for me. But I need... This is horrible. Actually horrible. I don't know what I'm doing. And I haven't been able to find, like, we didn't really have any notes about this. I mean, we had the man be like, it shows what it's supposed to happen, or whatever. Hold on. I might look up a hint for this thing, because it's bad. Honestly, though, like, I understand the general premise of what they want me to do, but I don't understand what they want me to do. You know? Okay, just a second. Okay, so I'm supposed to do... says, all the hints for the upcoming puzzle are in Maxwell's notes. The hints are very vague, though. I'll say. What did his note say, actually, before I, like, fully commit to looking at the answer? The door from the slides. I can see myself behind it, and now it's real, and I can open it. The image from the slides is a door. I can get the chain off, but I'm gonna need the key. I need to open it in order to get out. It's also dark, but if I can get out, maybe there is light out there. Maybe I can puzzle through this. Hello? Okay. Just weird sounds down my hallway. It's fine, I'm sure. I'm not worried. Well, the question is, like, so it starts here, right? Or does it end here? Alright, what do we have here? So this is where we start, right? And if we're gonna follow man's stupid puzzle, door's gotta go first, right? See myself behind it, and now it's real and I can open it. The image from the slides is a door. I can get the chain off, but I'm gonna need the key. I need to open it in order to get out. It's also dark. I don't. There's no rhyme or reason to the order that I have done these in. I can't. I'm gonna look it up. Okay. Closest. So this one should be the key. Had that right. That's nice. This should be the switch. Why? This is the box. That is light. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't get it. Oh, no, I do get it. I understand. You have to have the light on the box so the shadow doesn't steal your flashlight or the key. Oh, it's Monster. Oh, hey, look, it's Monster. And it's open now.
Is that a door? What is it doing there?
Well, that's what doors do sometimes, is they go there. Ma'am, I need you to turn your flashlight on. Where is your flashlight? Why don't you have your flashlight in hand? Where is your flashlight gone? What has she done with it? Oh my god, that was... No, I don't want to ever be within 100 meters of that thing again. Okay. Keep hearing spooky sounds in my hallway and I hate it. Also, I don't know where my flashlight's gone and this is horrible. Also, how am I supposed to keep that button open? Like, I don't have any... I might have eaten my torch. Might have just... You know, sometimes... Sometimes I get so worried, so panicked, so anxiety-stricken that I just eat whatever I have in my hands, and this time it happened to be my torch. Am I supposed to go into it from here? Well, game, I would love to, but I can't see where I'm going. I can just see the top of her head. Oh. It was secretly cake.
I can't believe it.
I also don't like it. I also don't like it. It's a tarp. It's 100% a tarp, but I couldn't go anywhere else.
Is this real? Where am I?
Oh my god. Oh. Elsewhere. Is what my map says. I have a handsaw now.
I'm gonna throw up.
We're just gonna take a hand. Is this what I use to keep the lever down in the actual world? Oh, it flops! Hi, chat. How's it going? Here, let me offer you a hand. Hi. Hi. Oh, there's no bones in it. Hi. Yeah, they're not great.
What have I done? I can't believe this is happening.
Oh! Oh, the wall is made of people! There are faces on the wall! I need to go. Hey, I think I need to go. I also have my flashlight back, it's fine. Yeah, the body was, even without the sun on your monitor, body was difficult to see, to be fair. It was just kind of there in the corner, but it's fine. We have a surprise hand now. Okay, hold on a second. I've got garbage in my way, and I need to move it. Sometimes Grace just gets really nauseous, to which, like, that's fair. I understand that. Sometimes I get really nauseous for no reasons. Sometimes you just wake up and you're like, not feeling it today. Sometimes you're just walking around and then your stomach is like, hey, we feel like crap now. And you're just like, stomach, can we not? We were fine. We were cool. I'm scared. I'm scared. Can I hide? Faces on the wall this time? Doesn't look like. Alright, hand. Do your thing, hand. Thanks, hand. You're doing great, hand. I don't hear anything. Honestly,
I swear,
though.
if I can't find anything.
It's like, hey, GI track, let's just, let's be cool. You cool? We're cool. What happened to ya? Used to be fam. No, you used to be bae. Now you're just fam. Stomach's always been a fucking disaster. Tragic. Don't help it much. Joke's on it. I will continue to eat things just to spite it. Hot sauce makes us upset? Cool. I'm gonna chug this whole thing then. There's nothing here. I'm damned if I know why. I'm still searching, but I won't leave before I find something. Well, you live down here then, Grace. I hate the noises these cameras make. Nothing here. I don't like it down here. Nothing. 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 Did I look at this one already? Nothing. 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 European Families, Great and Small! A compilation of biographies of prominent members of high society. Volume 17. The House of Legrand. Hey, that's the people who have the house. Or the thing. The box. The music box. They're the ones who had the music box. House of Legrand, which later merged with the House Amsberg, and its ups and downs over the years. The rise and fall of an industrial empire and the squandering of a legacy by Argos Legrand, last heir to the huge family fortune who spent his life obsessed with investigating the paranormal, make this one of the most thrilling volumes of this collection. Great. Can we leave now? I don't like it in here. The high-pitched buzzing? Oh! Why did the lights turn off behind me? Where's the door? Where's the door? I want to leave. You're sinking! Get out as quickly as you can! To escape, repeatedly press W. They'll try to catch you by the arms. Prevent this bite with A and D. At the right time, if you don't manage it, you'll have to free yourself by pressing that same button several times. Don't take too long or you'll definitely sink. Oh, fuck. Okay. Oh, it's a push and hold. Not me leaning over my keyboard to hit it with my better hand.
What was that?
just got the achievement, it gazes back. Horrible. Terrible. Awful. I never want to come back down here ever again. Basement bad. What is this? Where am I? I don't have a map. Hi, Akos! Akos, what the fuck are you doing, Renee? Oh my god. Just seeing his hand in the window? Like, what are you doing? How do I get in? I want to get in there. Let me in. Let me in. I did survive for
this
now.
might have something to do with Husher's investigation.
Let's
I don't
see.
have the hand, though.
It's a book about Argos Le Grand. A
Oh,
biography.
yeah, welcome in,
A
Argos.
collection of articles
Hope you're
about him,
well.
I think. He apparently spent part of his life traveling the world in search of odd, rare events. Rich people stuff. I don't
Not
know.
rich people things.
The biography suddenly ends right after his last journey. It says here, he returned without his equipment, without the
All
huge
done.
amount of money he wasted on the project, and with a simple memento of the music he brought home to his little girls, 8-year-old Elaine and newborn Ariana.
I was just talking about chugging a bottle of hot
And here's
sauce.
a note from Husher that says,
I think that's a great way to
See
spend
the
your time
archives, events,
as somebody who
newspaper.
enjoys hot sauce.
Is there a
But I can
newspaper
see how that might
archive over
be,
here?
potentially, you know, alarming. Yeah. Emmy and me, same hat. Oh boy. Hey! You get to choose a new character. This is actually, I think we'll play as Omar. Want to know what Omar's deal is? We will take a very short break here though, so I can use the restroom, because I've had enough water and soda today. Well, I say soda, I've only had the one soda way early this morning, and then this one that I've just opened. But I've had enough water today. I need to use the bathroom. It is pee time! But I'll have Warzone stream up for y'all, if you want to play that, while I go pith. Yeah. We'll be right back. Take this time to, as per usual, stretch, get a snack, refill your own dang water, pee if you gotta. Yeah. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Good words. Alright. Doesn't even take me that long. Oh, not the yawns. No yawns. None yawn. 0 yawn. Alright. Alright. You ready to get spooked? You ready for more scary shit?
Let me go. I know the place. You keep searching this area.
You refill that hot sauce cap. What kind of hot sauce you got? Give me the deets. I want to know about your hot sauce. I like hot sauce. Oh, sniffles. Ooh, sniffles. What is this? Ooh, I've never had Nando's. Anything Nando's related. I've heard tales. Lemon and herb sounds very good, though.
I have to find the newspaper Sebastian consulted.
Hey, it works. Ortega, I guess. I have there's this hot sauce company based in Arizona, called High Desert. And they've got a lot of hot sauces that I really, really like. Ghostly Prick is my favorite so far. And it's got ghost peppers in it. And it's very yummy. Fire Roasted Red, also very good. They got some very good hot sauces. Also, this light sucks. This is horrible. Is this a new area? Like, entirely? Oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is horrible. The advertisement is for a military history conference on the First World War. Not my specialty.
Mm-hmm.
No one in the secretary's office either.
Oh, the secretary's office sensor is on.
We do appreciate the lack of corn syrup in our hot sauces. I want to try making my own hot sauce at some point. But I need time and space to do that. Emmy. It says anonymous on the screen, but it says Emmy in chat. Thank you, Emmy, for giving that gift sub over to Akos. Emmy kind. Emmy gracious. Emmy wonderful. Don't think the people in the secretary's office are so short of space that they have to keep all this here. Yeah, thank you, Emmy. I say as I start panicking again as I listen to doors. It's fine. We're fine. This is a horrible space. I hate it in here.
Huh?
We love a little extra hot sauce. Pour one out for the homie. It's unbelievable that we use Maxwell's room as a junk room. Poor man has the patience of a saint. I don't wanna be here anymore. This room is very small. I can't get in there. Because the automatic door says no. Oh! What the fuck?! Why is there a child on the floor? Why is the floor bleeding? Floor's not bleeding anymore. I don't like this. You go into... these notes are by the professors of modern history. I gotta leave. I gotta leave this room. It's bad here. Thank you for the clip, Emmy. I'm glad you've now seen the child on the floor. Fucking hell. Why do all of these rooms not make bad noises outside, but then make bad noises when I go in? Horrible. Terrible.
Something on the table.
Yeah, I can see that there's something on the table. It's a pen. It's a mechanical pencil, actually. It's got a sharp point, but I think it's out of lead. Okay, why are we taking that? I thought that plant was a person. No, it's not even a plant. It's a... Ugh. It's a coat rack. I can't. Brain. Look, I fit under the table. Good to remember just in case. Yeah, it's scary here. I can't listen. I just have to go through. Okay, it's the break room. This is horrible.
No.
Research offices are usually closed. Maxwell should have a key. More books that shouldn't be here. Go through.
No.
Nope, that's still part of the research office. It's bad in here. Please turn it on. Okay, we get scared very easily. Our man. He's just constantly like, hey, I don't like this. Salmon? Can't use those. Understood. Okay. This is fine. This is fine. I'm gonna get this man killed. This poor man is going to die. No facility can be without its junk food machine. Grace loves it, of course. Why don't you? There was a thing on the other side of that door. I can tell because it makes bad scrapey sounds. Fuck you, Marino. Wow, I see the professor is as popular as ever among the art history students. I think I know who did it. So usually... Hold on, I'm gonna pause. So when you lean up against the door, you'll either hear silence or like the slight like wind sound. If there is something spooky behind the door, it's like something's like, you know that sound of like when you like drag your nails against something like rough, like wood? Not quite the like screechy sound, but the like that? It's like that. And it's horrible. Please, the emergency exit isn't locked. It's not a good sound. No, you were correct. It's not a good sound. Sponge roller used to paint walls and ceilings. Great. Why do I have this? Don't. Our man gets scared very easily. His poor heart's gonna give out. Door's been blocked with a chain. Why was there two of my face there? I don't know if that was a visual glitch or if it was supposed to do that. I didn't like it though. Okay, is there still something behind this door? Yep, still a thing behind that door. Great. Cool. Lovely. Where am I going? Okay. The other side. Okay, this is fine. There's a lot to look at here. Northern Advertiser, 1990 to 1999. I don't know what I'm looking for in here. Why is this game so dang scary? Why is this the game that freaks me out? Of all the games we've played... Okay, I don't think I have the information I need to be in here. It's unfortunate, but, you know. Telltale games just made me sad. Gave me the feels. Didn't really scare me though. Also, hey, Easy, how's it going? This one, like, actually, like, freaks me out. I don't know, even if I get scared during a game, it doesn't usually, like, stick with me afterwards. But I definitely had some weird shadow monster dreams over the last couple of nights. So, you know, that's a thing. I'm just tense. I'm just very tense. Constantly as I'm playing this. Sebastian would never use a computer. I don't think he'd even know how to turn it on. Well, maybe he should consider learning how to use a computer. What are these notes? They look like random words. Hi, buddy. Evo. I love the Telltale games. But yeah, I wouldn't say they particularly scared me. I think the only other game that I can think of that, like, has scared me in recent memory, was that one section in Village. Wouldn't mind opening a window to get some air in here, but I've got more important things to do. You know the one. Paper scattered about everywhere and a broken computer. Devo, you have to stop rubbing up against my leg. My guy. No. Can't open it. Books about art and art history. It looks like they wanted to transfer them somewhere else, but they haven't. Okay, you gotta go. Devo, go. Go. I love you, buddy, but you're being a turd. Like, running back and forth under my desk. Gotta stop. Oh, it's bad in here. Oh, it's bad in here. It is the baby, though. He is the baby.
No.
Door's been blocked with a chain. Still can't. Didn't think I could, but I figured it was worth a look. Okay. these rooms? Most assuredly not great. Definitely not great. Pretty miserable, in fact. Oh, shit. Okay, there was something in the wash closet that I could interact with, but it's bad in there. But it's bad in here, game. For God's sake, this is disgusting! There's a rat in the toilet! That's not where rats go! I don't know where else I can go at the moment. I guess the bad room over there. They're both good answers. Toilets are for ammo! Or toilet wine. Toilets are for ammo and or wine. These are known facts. Sorry. Is this? This is my legacy. Ammo toilet. Toilet ammo. Wine toilet. Yeah, it's the wine that you drink when you're on the toilet. Gotta make the experience a little more, you know, nice sometimes. Good Encanto. Encanto reference there. That toilet wine was bad, but consider just having a little glass of wine while you're on the toilet. No, I mean, we did talk about wine bidet. A bidet that shoots out wine, but it's not for your butt, it's for your mouth. So, you know, research offices are usually closed. Okay. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't have anything. Not the wine for your butt. That would hurt. I feel like that would hurt. It'd be, a little spicy. Right? Like, it's like, just imagine, like a chocolate fountain, you know? Or like a fondue fountain? Yeah! Were you not here for this conversation, TK? This seems like a thing that you would have been here for. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna move over here for a hot second. No! Wine bidet. Imagine, instead of like a fondue fountain or like a chocolate fountain, it's a bidet that shoots out wine. And you know, you don't put your butt on it. Don't put your butt on the wine bidet. But it would just be a new fancy way of drinking wines. And I think we talked about maybe getting in touch with Bidet Official, hooking me up with a bidet that I could shoot some wine through. Somebody's got to get on the wine bidet thing. No, not wine for your butt. Yeah, not a new fancy. You would get so drunk so fast. Your inside booty tissue absorbs alcohol very fast. It do. The quickest way to get drunk. Boofing. Obviously. Or taking shots with your eyeballs. I mean, if you're not just gonna, like, ingest it properly. The fastest way to ingest anything, really, if it's a liquid, is through your eyeball. Because it'll just go directly into your bloodstream from there. Don't do that! Please don't take shots with your eyes. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. think I know who you're talking about, Emmy, and I hate that. This is not a thing that you needed to know. That's fair. Bad respect. Don't drink alcohol if you don't wanna, or if you can't. Doesn't matter. Your reasons don't matter. Just don't do it if you don't wanna. No pressure there. Yeah, no, I can 100% picture the terrible. 100%.
Oh!
What are you tripping out about? Man! Oh, this is what you're tripping out about. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know where to go? Can I use the mechanical pencil in the drain? I haven't had any alcohol since New Year's. But I started some medications and I just haven't wanted to try and figure out if I had any sort of alcohol tolerance while I've been doing that. So, you know. Dipping that in won't help. Okay, can you... You've never legally drank? Hey, that's fine. It's genuinely, it's just one of those things where it's like, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't, you don't. And again, whatever your reasons for it, that's fine and cool. I respect that. Don't gotta drink if you don't wanna. But also fruity. Fruity. Okay, I need to go through here? Can I leave? Can't leave. I promised I'd help find Sebastian. Okay, but listen. Pal. Friend. Results of the June exams are still pinned up. Fruity lore is deepening. Even so. For shame. Oh, whatever. Oh no! Well, that's nice of her. Good she understands. Thanks, Canadian lady. Can I... Think he would do, but the fact is, when there's nobody in the security office, the sensor keeps the door shut to the unauthorized people. Okay. Can I... stab it? What could I do to deactivate that sensor? I don't think it's possible with this item. If I cover the lens in paint, that might work. The only drawback is that the roller hasn't been dipped in paint. Okay. Buddy, pal, friend, listen. Oh, right, I came into this room and then just immediately dipped out. I remember. Tools are flying around. Okay, I'll look at the note from the painter outside. There's a clock freaking out over there. I would like to combine this and this. Okay, I understand. I understand. I have to go take the water from the bathroom and put it in the dry paint. So it's not dry anymore. I brought the secretary flowers today and she wasn't there. Nobody was. Where did everyone go? The whole crew was supposed to be here today to paint. This is a joke. I don't think it's funny. I'm not painting by myself. I'm gonna sit here and bum around until the joke is over. You're not here by then? I'm out of here. You can tell the boss if you want. Tell him why you think it's funny for all of you to disappear just because I was half an hour late. See if he laughs. It's not funny. Seriously, it's not. Turn on the lights. Please turn on the lights. Please. Sounds like Painter Man had a bad day. Yeah, water from the sink. Gotta go into the bathroom. Take the water from the sink and put it in the paint. And then put the paint on the brush. And then put the brush on the sensor. Water has softened up the paint. What do you mean dipping that in won't help? I was trying to combine it. Was it trying to activate it? I don't know. Okay, it's fine. I don't want to be here no more. I just want to not be here. Sorry. I did have that song start playing in my head. But I was like, I'm not gonna subject everyone to me singing it intentionally poorly. But it's fine because Emmy has not sung it poorly for us, but has typed it out. Because you had a bad day. Where is inventory? That's what I'm trying to do. We are collecting all the earworms. I do have to add that to the playlist.
At least no one can tell me off here.
That's not how you dip that in there, buddy. You're doing a very bad job. You didn't have to get it everywhere like that.
I should be able to get into the secretary's office now.
Why did you make such a mess? Bizarre. Oh!
What's going on? This is so weird.
Oh, I didn't listen. Oh, we didn't listen. I gotta go.
I'm starting to question my own sanity.
This is fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Poor man. Just needs a minute to calm down. He's fine now. Use?
No.
Okay, so this is not the key for the office. What else is locked? That room. Why is this building making bad ship noises? I don't understand. This key won't fit. Where does it go then? What else is locked? Like those, all three of those doors are the same, I think. Oh boy. Okay, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not for the same room.
No.
What does this key say? This key belongs to some drawer or cupboard. I know it doesn't open a door.
What is this? What is it?
I gotta go.
I have to get out of here.
I know, buddy. We're going.
I was going to freeze.
But you didn't. Okay, drawer cupboard, drawer cupboard. You might disagree on it, but I would much rather it be cold than too hot. It's easier to put more things on. It's harder to take more things off. But also bundle up. Don't be cold. Okay. I don't know where to go. That is true. That is fair. Is it this? Wonder who has the keys. I have the key? I have the key. I don't have the key. Yeah, you can. Makes me sick that people smoke in study areas. It's gross. It is gross. Don't smoke in public. Freaking hooligans. Poor man can't sunbathe. It's bad in here too. In the name of God, what the heck are these pictures? No way, these notes are by the professors of the Modern History Department. The last meeting I know they held here was almost 2 months ago. It's 1998, it was a different time, Emmy. People were allowed to smoke in public. They were gross and they were allowed to smoke in public. It's horrible. Y'all remember the times when you had to specify you wanted to sit in a non-smoking area in a restaurant? I remember those days. Didn't make a lick of difference. You were still in the same building. Still in the same room, technically, as all the smokers.
Oh my!
Oh no. Thank you, Travis, for the contribution! No. Please, monster, go away. Go away, go away, go away. Okay. You trust smoke. I'm sure you're right, Fruity.
What was that thing?
It's called a monster, buddy. They're not great. Okay, maybe I go back into the secretary's office. Her poor little heart. Going pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter. This does bring up the conversation again of just being like, I wish that games used a different sound for denoting stress. You can do it. It's possible. Alright, newspaper archive secretary's office, 17th of August, name Jill. Room A, Professor Wesk. Room B, Professor Husher. Room C is empty. Incidents, comments. Becca, read this as soon as you see it. Professor Husher is acting weird. He wanders around the archive all day, lost in thought. It's odd, even for him. He barely even answers me. Sometimes he carries a music box he winds up every now and then. Mr. Spencer's taken him to task several times, and whenever he does that, it looks as if Husher has just woken up. Then he goes back to his office and spends hours holed up in there. Chris says he's the same at night, if not worse. We think he slept in his office because no one has seen. No one has seen. Him leave, and William says he heard strange noises. It sounded like screams, but when he went to check, no one was there. Ooh. Today he asked about the Northern Advertiser Archives, a small newspaper from some godforsaken little town from 1913. What the hell would he be looking for there? If you notice anything really weird, call security. No one has seen Max for days, and something tells me that before the holidays are over, something is going to happen. I have a bad feeling about this. 1913. Nobody's picked up this fax, and it's been here for weeks. Wasn't expecting the cupboard to be open, but it's not. Okay, 1913 archive. 1913 archive. Where are the archives, actually? Microfiche. Microfishes. That's where it is, right? Would have to be to store that many newspapers. Archives. Time to go to the archives. $1990. $1980. $1920. $1930. $1880. $1890. $1900. $1910, $1919. This one. Keys open the drawer, of course. Taking the microfiche with me. Microx! Microfilm! Great. What do I do with this? Where do I take this? Why is it dark out there? I need to get into that room. How do I get into that room? What is this? Hold on. What is this? Fire alarm button. I must avoid touching that. I'll sell it on eBay. I'll do it. Coffee machine. They must make enough profit from grace alone. Where am I supposed to find the keys? Do you think they need Ghostbusters in here? I don't know that we're the right people for this job. Consider. We are not the correct people for this job. I don't know. Got a sharp point, but I think it's out of lead. Can I use that on the radio, maybe? Great, it looks like the battery cover is stuck. I can't open it. Okay. Combine that with that. Bunch of standard portable batteries. What do I do with the batteries? Okay. liked Erica's sounds better. The was very endearing to me. They're not bad. Omar's sounds are not bad sounds. I just liked Erica's much better. There's just something so, like, matter-of-fact about the way that she said it. Okay, hold on. I like that I can see that there are things inside this room/rooms, but I can't access the room, so how would I know that there's anything in there for me? You know? I hope y'all are liking this game. I know it's a little slow going. I'm having a lot of fun playing it, though, as spooked as I am. Okay, cool. I guess I just, like, I worry, like, I realize, like, I'm not... Like, I'm talking about as much as I usually do, but I don't feel like I'm offering up a ton of good commentary, quote-unquote good commentary, but I'm really enjoying this game, and I really like how it runs. I like the mechanics. I do wish that the insta-deaths... I mean, it looks like they've scaled the insta-deaths a little better. I do remember, like, not necessarily appreciating them the first go-about, but I think I understand the mechanics better now, which makes me enjoy them more. And it's kind of like a silly story, but I dig it. I'm here for it. I don't know, it's also just been a weird couple of weeks, and so it's like... just making sure we like this, because I like this. Even with me just, like, running back and forth a bunch and being like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, what? Newspapers should be available on microfiche now. Okay, is there something more in the archive room? In the archive room? Like, there has to be a reader in here, right? But it doesn't appear to be that way. Hey, boss! How is it going? Is there... I don't know where to go. Like, I feel like I've looked at everything. It's always spooky time. It's always spooky time over here. It's extra spooky time. It's really more I'm getting lost and I don't know where I'm supposed to look time. More than anything at the moment, but that's okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what I've missed. Hide, 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 hide. Okay, come on. You got this, buddy. You did great, Omar. I think. Yeah, you did fine. Oh.
Get away.
Bad. Scary. Horrible. Do I use microfiche. Microfiche? Microfiche? On the computers? I mean, I have to use it in the offices, right? But how do I get into the office? Eesh. Who managed to pull out the telephone cable? I feel like I've heard it pronounced microfiche. But that sounds silly, but also I don't feel like that would be too weird. So is it microfiche or microfiche? How do you say it? Excuse me. It is a very tiny fish. Yes. Correct. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. No, don't combine that with anything. I want to look at it. That's a cute crab. Without these devices, there wouldn't be enough space in the world to store all the newspapers that are filed here. Okay, that tells me nothing. Omar. Oh. Oh, jeez. Only half, though. Not the whole otter. Not the other half of otter. Okay, I don't know where I'm going. I don't want to just, like, keep looking stuff up, but also I feel like I've looked everywhere. Emmy has both halves. Yes. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna kind of get a general idea of what I'm supposed to be looking for, because I feel like I've looked everywhere. I'm supposed to have found a key, like a key ring? Oh, I missed like a whole thing. Hold on a second. Okay. Apparently, I need to explore the bathroom a little more. No, Emmy, you're right. I gotta look in the bathroom more. You are correct. Ugh. Yeah, it's horrible. We hate it. Is it? I think it's this one.
Help me. Oh,
Maxwell,
please.
is that you? Maxwell, it's Professor Nasiri. Are you okay?
I never went in
Can
far
you get
enough
out?
to activate the
No,
cutscene.
no. I can't get out. My flashlight.
It's out of batteries. I need batteries.
I've got batteries for you, my dude.
All right. I'll try to help you with this. Maxwell.
Guess what? I
got
got
your
some
batteries.
batteries.
Oh, thanks. It's so dark in here.
Batteries.
So dark.
Aw, the red key has a heart on it. Look. Hey, bud, you good in there? I think I know who did this. I hope they stop their nonsense soon. Uh-oh.
Oh my.
I also love how jingly the keys are.
Maxwell? Are you there?
That's a trap. That's a trap. That right there, that's a trap. Nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna look. I know better. Oh my goodness. This game has taught me that I never need to look, like, explore further than what I have to. Oh, jeez. Okay, okay. Go on in. We're making progress, y'all. Maxwell is not bathroom friend material. We can't be poop friends. These clothes look like one Sebastian normally wears. Can I? Beautiful. 1913? Oh no. This. Okay, hold on a second. We can't be poop friends. You can't pee poop friends or be poop friends with Maxwell. It's not the done thing. Okay, what did he want? It just says from 1913. We're not pee poo poo friends with Maxwell, is the thing. Here's the thing, we're not actually. When?
I just saw something weird as...
No, I remember that. I just saw something weird as fuck. Okay, maybe I have to look around before I can determine which ones I need to... Specifically which article I need to look at. We know 1912. I can hear running and I don't like it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, okay. This is fine. Anything in here? Maybe Sebastian was here. Did he leave these rolls of film on the floor? That sound! I still don't... That's the same as the other one. Are there really... 2 possible places for me to do this? Oh, I gotta unlock the other doors. I really hope there's information in one of these, because I don't know. I will go through every single month and year and date if I have to. I will brute force this if I gotta. I just would prefer not to. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the preferred option, but it is an option. Professor Laurie normally uses this office. The students can't stand her, Grace included. Why are we so mean to everybody? Thank you, Emmy. Reminder, we do have the community challenge up for gummy hunts. I should set that up as a timed thing. Thank you for bringing it up, Emmy. I said it the once, and that's it. I was done. Oh, jeez. Okay. Ugh. I need to listen before I bust into this room. Okay, we're good. Thank you, Voss, for the contribution. Dark paintings, very much Sebastian's style. Bust it! I mean, what are you gonna do with your bubbles? What are you gonna do with your bubbles? 17th of March! LeGrant, Amsberg! Wealthy but fallen on hard times during the 20th century. What happened? Death of Argos LeGrant? Check records and investigate the family, past and present. Heirs, distant relatives? Have to find out about his life, but also his death. 17th of March. Thank you for the hydrate, Voss. Reminder that all of you should also drink some water. It is important that we all stay hydrated. 17th of March, 1912. 17th of March, 1912. 17th of March, 1912. Can I unlock this one? No, there's still a bad thing in there. We're gonna keep that door locked. What is happening?
This is spooky.
Yeah, it is, buddy. Oh, I didn't listen.
Thank God. Everything's calm again.
Oof. I don't like it. I don't like it. That wasn't nice. Let's go on through. Oh boy. Same, buddy. Okay. 17th of March? Which is the 3rd. And we want obituaries. Crime reports, maybe? Business and finance, politics, sports, national news, classified, meteorology, opinion. Is this the paper that I wanted? PC note, notes from printer. Record sheet from the newspaper archive. Wait, no. March 17th, right? '17th of March, 1912. I'm going to kill a billion trees trying to find the right thing. Or was it the 16th of March? Oh no. No, it's the 17th of March, and March is the 3rd month, right? Sorry, Fruity. It's gonna happen. Say goodbye to your kin. It was 1912. National news? Classified. I don't... You would think, given that the note says that I need to investigate... March 17th. And we had to look in 1912. That... You, and that we specifically need to look into Legrand's death. That there would be an obituary column, right? We already did crime reports. Did business and finance. Maybe I do need to go unlock that bad room. I don't wanna, though. Or do I have to look at... Fuck.
Down there.
What if I go look at the bathroom trap? What if we go explore the bathroom trap?
Maxwell? Where are you?
Okay. He's more bothered by the cold because he's dressed so warmly that he's just baffled that the cold can touch him. Is the thing. Because he's got a scarf and a jacket on and he's like, I shouldn't be cold. Why is it so cold? Yeah, exactly. He doesn't understand. Okay, so bathroom was a trap. Not a trap, excuse me. It's true.
Uh-huh.
Nope. Bad sounds there. I don't want to go in there. That's bad. It's bad in there. I wonder if I can do the thing now that we know that Maxwell's gone. You know? March 17th, 1912. I don't know why I took the long way for that.
Oh!
Wow, rude!
Oh my god!
Game. Did I need to explode this computer first? Is that why it wasn't working? I needed to make this computer explode with a face? Seems a little weird, but okay. Are these all the same? Yeah. Oop. National News Classifieds. Meteorology. Opinion. Crime reports. Business and finance. Politics. Hold on a second. Are you kidding me? It's supposed to be 1913? Just double checking to make sure I was doing this right, but apparently... Hold on. Hold on. It was 1913. Okay. Bye, Emmy! I got it in my head that it was 1912 and I was incorrect. That was on me. Less than 3, Emmy! Okay, let me read this. LeGrant Amsberg family dies. Argos LeGrant, the LeGrant family heir and owner of the business conglomerate LGA Inc., has died in mysterious circumstances along with his wife and his elder daughter, who was 8 years old. The events took place late last night in the family's holiday home, where they had been spending some time in spring after the well-known magnate had been on a trip. Although the authorities have said very little in their public statements and the lines of investigation are open, the strongest theory so far is that the family has been the victim of a violent robbery, with the only survivor being the younger daughter, Ariadne, who is safe and sound under the care of police officers. Doesn't sound very safe to me. Okay. What am I supposed to do now? Leave? Can we leave? No. everything!
It's been a while now. Should we go see if everything's okay?
Game! Let's play as Daniel. I don't want to restart the episode, though. We'll never play as Daniel. Ever. Everyone else is expendable. We'll never play as Daniel, though.
I bet he got wrapped up reading something. I'll go check.
Right, we liked him. Game, that was rude. I couldn't listen to the door. So it's not like I, like, hear if there was anything out there. Was he just, like, is he just supposed to die? Horrible. Terrible.
I have to find the newspaper Professor Husher was looking for.
You came out here to find Omar! Favorite part about Daniel is that he's too cool for this game. Oh no. This is tragic. Look, if I play as Daniel, I will definitely die.
Wait. What's this?
It's the stuff that we need. Wait, seriously? I just had to send somebody out to get the stuff?
There's something here. A note from a certain Sylvia that says, Professor Husher, remember to pick up your typewriter and the rest of your belongings from the library desk. This is the university library. If you need your own space, you can use your office. If Husher left documents in there, it may be worth taking a peek too.
Think man might
This
have
might
been
have something to do with Husher's investigation.
doomed.
Let me see. Oh God, did you read that? Argos Legrand, heir to the Legrand family and owner of the LGA Incorporated business conglomerate,
It's
has
horrible.
died under mysterious circumstances along with his wife and 8-year-old daughter. It occurred last night at the family's holiday home, where they were spending part of the spring after the famous magnate's most recent trip. While police remain open-minded in their official statements and maintain that all lines of inquiry remain open, popular theories suggest that the family fell victim to a violent robbery, leaving the younger daughter,
Daniel, I
Ariadne,
read
the
this.
sole survivor. She is currently safe in police custody. Oh my God, they're all dead. This is a dead end. Husher left some documents at the library. Maybe there's something there. It's all that's left to check.
Okay. Well, we're gonna continue to ignore. Well, you know what? What if we take Renee and get him killed? What if Renee dies? I don't want to play as Renee.
I'll go take a look. You check out what else is in that notebook.
This is horrible. This is terrible. How has it come down to this? I don't know that I'm like a fan of the way that this episode is broken up. It's kind of nice having more checkpoints, more obvious checkpoints. But I don't necessarily like having like brand new areas constantly. And I mean, I guess it makes sense with like the layout of a school, like a giant university like this.
It's
But
too
I kind of
quiet,
liked
even for a library.
not the echo. But I kind of liked having like a full area to explore, and you just kind of like unlock the areas as you progress. Like I really liked how I'm gonna pause before I get got. Like I really liked like the apartment complex attached to like the antique shop and all the little like nooks there that you could explore. And I remember the manor being really cool. Like I mean it was all tight corridors and horrible, awful, terrible, scary spaces. But like it was good because like I could explore the entire house, but I still had to like unlock things, you know? So I'm not saying that like this is bad, but it's definitely like it feels a little more broken up because it is. Northern Advertiser from the 27th of August must have had coffee spilt on it at some point. This is disgusting. How huge this area is. But you know, I think the maps like benefit from having like a contained area, everything that you need to do in the one space. Ancient copies of the Quran. These are historical treasures, and Omar is very fond of them. Was very fond of them. Omar's dead now. In case you were wondering. Grace. Omar's dead. I've killed him, apparently. I want to get behind the desk. How do I get behind the desk? I don't. The answer is I don't. Understood. But I wanna... I'm just, like, missing... Oh, here? Hey, I found it. I can get behind desk now. Don't worry about it. It's all fine. That's totally cool. Thanks for hanging out as long as you have, Akos. Get some good rest. Thank you for the lurk. Take care of yourself. Great if you need info. When it works, of course. I'll see you around, friend. The occult witchcraft. What's this? Has Professor Husher been reading these? These notes have all been crossed out. This doesn't help to clarify anything. Information about the library rules, etc. All super organized, of course. Of course. Wait, can I get back there? Hold on. Hold on. Wait a second. Okay, there's nothing over here to look at. Well... Actually... These notes have all been crossed out. This doesn't help to clarify anything.
Wait. What?
Oh! I didn't know what I was supposed to be pushing.
Shit. Where did that thing come from?
Whoa! Turn around. Go back over here. Oh! Well, that's great. Am I supposed to, like, navigate through this while not being able to see these monsters? was just gonna suggest that I, like, keep the Song of Horror playthroughs a little shorter. Just because they're incredibly stressful. This is terrible. And this might lend to us keeping the play, like, the sit-downs for this dang game a little on the shorter side. I don't know that I can puzzle through this right now. I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do. Like, am I supposed to highlight the path that I need to take? It's like the cameras offer light based on where they're pointing, right? Kinda? I don't know. I don't know that I have the brain power to do this right now. Like, I hear the camera. At least we're not Daniel, it's true. Can't walk through there.
Getting stronger. Gotta be careful.
Okay, so I can only fuck up a handful of times. This is horrible. I also can't see anything. This is terrible. Okay, I'm gonna look at this camera for a minute more. I might take a gander at this guide that I have. But we also might call it here for now. I mean, we're almost at the 3-hour mark anyway. Which is an hour shorter than I like doing. But that's okay. There's not enough in these areas for me to know what I'm looking at, especially in spaces like this. It's like, I don't know what this is. If I can just get, like, a hint about what we're trying to do, that would be wonderful. Okay, well this isn't particularly helpful, but apparently I can climb this ladder over here. Which I looked at and I was like, well that'd be useful, but I didn't think the game would be so kind as to let me climb it. We can climb it. So maybe we climb it and we look around first. I don't know what I'm supposed to do up here, I just saw that I could climb it. Mentioned the terrible bookshelves below and then was like, hey, you can climb this ladder. Like, okay, cool. Are there terrible things up here is the question. Slash, I can't see anything. There's nothing over here. What is this? Someone has latched the trapdoor from the other side. I can't move it from here. So I have to do the thing downstairs to unlock the trapdoor so I can get past. Am I understanding this correctly? Also, can I look at these? University's founder. There are busts of him everywhere. Is there anything over here? Possibly. Probably not. What is this? In which Aten was typically depicted as a sun disk emanating a radial series of arms ending in hands. Each hand held an ankh, a symbol of life, and collected offerings. Although no anthropomorphic images, otherwise common in Egyptian mythology, have been preserved, some of these sun disk depictions have been. As part of his religious revolution, not only did Akhenaten get rid of all of such humanoid depictions, he also created, according to many Egyptologists, the first monotheistic religion. He named the pharaoh as the god's sole representative on earth, thus disbanding and discrediting the priesthood. Although all these changes could be explained as a consequence of the turbulent political situation at that time, the truth is that there are gaps in this understanding, which scholars have not overlooked. For instance, no one knows why Akhenaten suddenly decided to transform the way temples had been until then, closed, dark, where the concealment of the divine was paramount, into expansive open-air temples where good lighting was the most important thing. There are also strange depictions where Aten is replaced, or perhaps opposed, by a dark, anthropomorphic figure also emanating radial series of arms, but in whose hands the ankh does not appear. Sometimes these radial elements, or arms, do not have hands and have an ending. Photocopy, a poor quality photocopy from a book about Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten. Okay. Is there anything else up here? Or, or is that it? What is this? What is this? Omar laughs at me for not knowing that this painting was of Ivan the Terrible Man. I don't really care. Okay. That's fine. Is there... Oh no. Okay, it's blocked over here. I don't want to have to walk through here is the thing. Game, here's the thing. Consider. It's bad down here. Grace has been got. Grace did not make it. That's unfortunate. Alright, well maybe we call it here for today. I have a better understanding of what we're supposed to do, but that sounds like a Wednesday problem, as opposed to a Monday problem.
It's been a while now. Should we go see if everything's okay?
Nothing is okay, actually. Daniel, listen. I'm not gonna take Daniel in there, because we will have to restart the episode. We'll go ahead and select Renee.
Look. Be right back.
Everyone is dying. No one is surviving. Everyone's dead. But I think we are gonna call it here, because I have put all my brain power into everything else. But that's okay. Please let me skip. Game, please let me skip. I ran out of brain juice. This isn't the evil within. They've not given me enough pickle juice for my brain. Can't skip the intro. This is horrible. No. Travis, I know me as a human being. The pressure will ensure that I fuck it up, as opposed to succeed. Like I said, we have, like, streamed for 3 hours, which is, like, just good. That's a good amount of stream time. But I can't. My spatial awareness right now is not good enough for me to be able to properly manage that area right now. But that's like that's a decent enough spot for us to stop and start, or to start back up on Wednesday. So I'm not mad with it. Y'all want to set up a raid. Okay. But thanks for being here, and thanks for hanging out. Like I said, I hope everyone's enjoying this. I really like this game. As frustrating as it can be every so often. When it just decides that it's killing my men for no reason. Don't like that, but you know what? That's okay. We've just learned to not get attached to anybody. Y'all wanna go say hi to Ghosty? Ghosty is currently streaming some Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Otherwise, we got Dot. I got Chew on as well, but we've streamed Chew a lot recently. So yeah, it's either Dot or Ghosty. Dot is doing some retro games as per usual. Like I said, Ghosty is doing some Star Wars. I lean towards saying hello to Ghosty. Alright. Yeah, I'm just gonna set up that raid. Let's go. Let's go. We're gonna go say hi to our friend, Ghosty1031. It's a Star Trek. A battle trek. All the things. I have my brain has just completely shit out on me entirely. It's time to be done. Alright. We will be back on Wednesday with more Song of Horror, indie stuff on Friday, and then fun stuff. Fun on the weekend. But until then, take care of your dang selves. I love y'all. We'll see you later. Have a good one. So long, friends.